Namaste. Hello and a warm welcome. Welcome to Akankssha's YouTube channel Multidimensional Soul and this audiobooks and talk series dedicated to Akankssha's son and spirit guide Arnav. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, do subscribe, like and share this knowledge and wisdom. Do share your experiences in the comments. What resonates with you the most? What insights do you receive from these teachings? Let's keep this energy of knowledge and wisdom flowing as the energy loves to move, and this is an energy exchange. The Spectrum of Spiritual Consciousness by Paramahansa Yogananda. Spiritual consciousness is a vast subject. It comprises the entire scope of this human consciousness we possess. Consciousness in its essence is ever pure. It engages in all actions, both good and evil, yet remains unaffected and untarnished. A sword may cut a leaf and become stained by it, yet the sword itself is not changed. Such is consciousness. A sword that has been used to kill an innocent man is condemned as evil. A sword that has been used to destroy a wicked enemy is honored as virtuous. Similarly, when consciousness is used to do good things, it is called spiritual consciousness, and when it is used to do wrong, it is called evil consciousness. Just as a river has a source, so the river of consciousness has a source. It descends from cosmic consciousness, the consciousness of God that is beyond all creation. When cosmic consciousness comes into the realm of matter, into each of the atoms that make up the planets and island universes, and the different form of plant, animal, and human life, that consciousness is called Christ consciousness. When Christ consciousness, Kutastha Chaitanya, descends into the soul and pure mind of man, it is called superconsciousness. When superconsciousness descends into the realm of imagination, it is called subconsciousness. When subconsciousness descends into the muscular and sensory phase of human life, it is called human or waking consciousness. When waking consciousness becomes attached to the senses and material things, it is called worldly consciousness, and when it is used to harm oneself or others, it is evil consciousness. But when it is used to do good things and to produce attunement with God, then it is called spiritual consciousness. These are the steps by which cosmic consciousness makes its entry into human consciousness, descending from spirit into the body and into our material and spiritual desires. In this way, cosmic consciousness becomes material consciousness as it flows downward and outward. Our souls are like derelicts floating on this river of consciousness, going farther and farther away from their source in spirit toward the rocks of misery. The only way to stop this evolutional floating downward in the stream of consciousness is to swim against that current, back to the source in spirit. Those who are carried on and on with the downward flowing stream of consciousness, toward finite proclivities, are spoken of as having material consciousness, and those who are going upstream, toward the source, the spirit, are spoken of as possessing spiritual consciousness. From time to time, the trend of human thought and consciousness may change, being either predominantly upward toward good, or downward toward matter. The trend can be predominant in these ways in a family, in a nation, or in the world in general, as well as in an individual. For just as individual human beings go through different states of consciousness, so, collectively, do families, nations, and the world. India, in her golden age, had the highest material intelligence and spirituality. America has the highest material efficiency now and is passing into spiritual development. India is more advanced in the science of spirituality than any other nation on the globe. Her spiritual development is seen in her saints of self-realization. Look at Mahatma Gandhi. This one little man is dictating to the mighty British Empire. You must know that there has to be a great spiritual power behind one who can rule millions, not by a sword, but by the word of truth, by living truth. Real spiritual truth in a nation or an individual is distinguishable as scientific knowledge of life and of the art of living in attunement with cosmic laws, and as greater contact and divine communion with God as spirit. Such spiritual development does not come from swallowing theological ideas, but from assimilating the truth behind theology. One must be able to shave the husk of dogma and theory from the kernels of truth. What is truth? The outstanding feature of Self-Realization Fellowship, Yogoda Satsanga Society of India, is that it teaches you how to know the truth through actual experience. Truths are not truths to you unless you realize them within yourself. Without realization, they are just ideas. This is why, before spiritual development comes, individuals, and nations too, go through ruts of spiritual suspicion. What is spirituality? Why is it necessary? Will it really make me happier? What is truth? Doubt is removed only by realization. So, the best laboratory in which to test truth is your own self-realization. For spiritual perception, spiritual consciousness, lies not in vague theological ideas, but in the acquisition of self-realization. Individual knowledge and the knowledge of nations should be tested by this criterion. The word truth has been so abused that it has come to mean most anything one wants it to, especially when used to connote spiritual ideas. In everyday living, truth is a consciousness that is guided by spiritual wisdom, which propels us to do certain things, not because anybody says to, but because they are right. Truth cannot be monopolized by any group or individual. Every human being has a right to express truth within his own life. Its expressions may be various, but its substance will ever be one and the same. This is what makes it so interesting. Truth cannot be circumscribed. It is eternal. It will keep on manifesting eternally, through cosmic law and through enlightened human beings, whether or not the majority of the world accepts it. Fortunately, the cosmic absolutes are not dependent on man's belief and sanction. Spiritual consciousness obeys all the rules that make life complete. Spiritual consciousness means the use of superwisdom, truth, to do the things that supremely benefit yourself and others. Dwell on that thought. It includes selfless service to others, right behavior, adherence to hygienic and all other laws of life, and the harmonious performance of all your duties, material and spiritual, without allowing one duty to contradict another. Spiritual consciousness is a perfect internal expression of truth that manifests as a balanced, harmonious life, giving you true happiness, which you in turn share with others. A consciousness that does not obey all the rules that make life complete is not spiritual consciousness. Some people become artists, for example, and in the pursuit of art they forget other practical and spiritual duties. Certainly, art is a beautiful expression and may well convey spiritual ideas, yet the man who produces it may not be spiritual. To live a contradictory life, to do one duty and use it as an excuse to neglect other duties, is to live unspiritually. When you perform all duties cheerfully, without letting any duty upset your inner calm and happiness, and when you avoid any contradiction of duties that makes your life unbalanced, you will have true spiritual happiness. The trend of all your mind and consciousness will be turned back toward the source, toward God. Spiritual consciousness is the supreme consciousness you must attain in order to have a harmonious and peaceful existence. Without that spiritual balance in life, happiness is impossible. To live a contradictory life is to be unbalanced, and to lead an unbalanced life is a sure way to unhappiness. The inner versus the outer world. The senses are at the root of material consciousness. The ordinary individual is more inclined toward the world and material things than toward spiritual things, because the searchlights of his senses are directed outward. He is playing the 5 searchlights, of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, on material objects and pleasures. This is why everything outside seems beautiful and enjoyable. You never behold the inner world unless these searchlights are reversed and concentrated within. Only if you learn not to be carried away by the operation of the senses will you be able to enjoy spiritual consciousness. When you withdraw your mind inward, you will begin to perceive that there are many more wonderful things within than outside. If you think the music of this world is beautiful, you will find the astral music far more enticing. As you enjoy the touch of the cool breeze and the warm sunshine and all other wholesome sensations, so inside, as you interiorize your consciousness, you will feel the supremely enjoyable subtle perceptions of the forces in the spiritual cerebrospinal centers in the body. Everything beautiful in this world is but a gross copy of the radiant grandeur of the astral world. Nothing material can compare with those wondrous visions of the inner world. Spiritual consciousness brings astral perception of the wisdom and beauty that is behind all material phenomena. The beauty of nature is like a fountain. You see the beauty of the spray, but you do not see the wonders inside the droplets. The astral light and color behind each atom are indescribably beautiful. In this fountain of beauty in nature, you see only the gross external, not the subtle inner beauty, nor the power that gives that beauty to nature. O Lord, all things are beautiful because they have borrowed their beauty from thee. The moon smiles and the stars twinkle because thou art sparkling there. Because thou art beautiful, all things are beautiful, without thee, nothing is beautiful. O infinite beauty, thou art more beautiful than all things beautiful that come from thee. The beauties of nature are but waves of thy beauty, dancing in thee, O invisible spirit of beauty. Spirituality embraces a wide field of controlled activity. To be spiritual is not to be an angel with wings, but something infinitely greater, one who is in touch with God. You must live differently than the ordinary man, who is in touch only with sense consciousness. Spiritual consciousness lies in absolute victory over human consciousness. Now, spirituality does not mean only to meditate, it embraces a very wide field of controlled existence. However, meditation is the best foundation. It is the greatest way to be spiritual, the simplest way to spiritualize the consciousness. It will bring into your life all the good you have ever dreamed of acquiring. But to meditate, on the one side, and be angry or lead a desultory life on the other, is like putting your feet in two boats going in opposite directions. You must not only meditate but also learn to behave. To have spiritual consciousness is to be able to do those things that are in your highest interest. And I can bet that 99% of the people do not know in what lies their own good. A practical way to understand right from wrong behavior is to introspect and criticize ourselves. Every person should keep a mental diary. Mental diaries are much better than material ones, which are objects of curiosity to others. Many people write down nice thoughts and resolutions in their diaries, and then promptly forget about them. It is better to keep a mental diary in which you constantly watch your thoughts and actions. At certain times during the day, have a checkup on your physical, mental, and spiritual machines, to see how they are behaving. This will help develop your spiritual consciousness. God alone will look into your mental diary. If you fill it with right thoughts and behavior, it is your passport to heaven. So put into your mental diary only the things that are good. Do not listen to negative things, do not talk negatively, do not think negative thoughts. Let no action of yours cause anything negative in others. Harm to others acts as a boomerang and hurts you most of all. Sin is not like dynamite, which you can explode from a distance without harm to yourself. It has to be diffused within your own soul. Never be mean. Have resentment toward none. I prefer some sinners with good hearts to some so-called good people who are bigoted and uncompassionate. To be spiritual is to be broad, to understand and forgive, and to be a friend to all. If you say you are a friend to all, it should be true. If you proffer friendship, you must mean it. You must not show kindness or cooperation outside and inside feel the opposite. Spiritual law is very powerful. Don't go against spiritual principles. Never deceive or be treacherous. As a friend, know when to mind your own business, understand your place, know when you should have the willingness to cooperate, and when you should have the will to non-cooperate. If you make people feel you are their friend, if they know you are a friend ready to help, that is a wonderful power to live by. I have always been trusted. My guru, Sri Yukswar, said to me, "If ever I do wrong, take my head on your lap and bless me." Such was his humility and perfect expression of what divine friendship means. I remember a boy in my school in India. He had been a problem child, and his parents brought him to me. We used to take only children under 12, and he was much older. I had a heart-to-heart talk with him. I told him that there were no bars on the school doors, that he could walk out any time. I said he could stay only if he were willing to be good. I reasoned with him, you have made up your mind to smoke, and your parents do not want you to. You have succeeded in defeating your parents, but you have not succeeded in defeating your unhappiness. You are the one who is the most miserable as a result of your misbehavior. My arrow struck home. He began to weep, saying, "They are always beating me." I went on, "Think of what you have done to yourself. Come on, I will take you on condition that I will be your friend but not your detective. As long as you are willing to mend your mistakes, I will be your helper. But if you lie to me, I will do nothing for you. Lying destroys friendship. I added, any time you want to smoke, don't do it behind my back, rather, tell me, and I will get you the cigarettes. One day he came to me and said, I feel a terrible desire to smoke. I gave him money and told him to go and buy the cigarettes. He could not believe his eyes. Take back the money, he said. I was pushing him to go, but he would not go. At last, after this tug of war, he said, you will not believe me, but I do not want cigarettes anymore. He became a saintly person. I had roused the spiritual consciousness in him. Sincerity and intensity of effort is what counts. Spiritual consciousness lies in the sincere internal effort to go upstream toward real lasting happiness. Many people say they are following a righteous course, but very few are really making a sincere effort. It isn't demanded of you that you be an angel all at once. Since only the Absolute is perfect, we can say that before God even the best angel is a sinner. But saints are sinners who did not give up. No matter what your difficulties, if you do not give up, you are making progress in your struggle against the stream. To struggle is to win the favor of God. You must make that supreme effort. Do not idly let life float you down the stream. You can't fool God, because He sees your thoughts. He won't measure how long you have worked for spiritual attainment, it is your intensity that counts. No matter how many incarnations of bad karma you might have, if your devotion and sincerity are deep enough to bring into your consciousness the light of God, all darkness of the evil of incarnations will be burned away. So no matter if your sins are as deep as the Atlantic Ocean, make constant mental effort to become good. For a few incarnations you have been a human being, but throughout eternity you have been a child of God. Never think of yourself as a sinner, because sin and ignorance are only mortal nightmares. When we will awaken in God, we will find that we, the soul, the pure consciousness, never did anything wrong. Untainted by mortal experiences, we are and ever have been the sons of God. We are like gold in the mud. When the mud of ignorance is cleansed away, the shining gold of the soul, made in God's image, is seen within. Spiritual consciousness comes from a firm mental resolve. No matter how others are behaving around you or toward you, you yourself have to be good. The greatest enemy of yourself is yourself. You procrastinate about being good. I used to get into mental ruts, and many months would pass when I couldn't meditate deeply. Yet I continued to make the mental effort. Progress came fast when I suddenly realized that I had to be more determined to control all my habits and exercise my spirituality. Similarly, you have to take control of your behavior and consciousness. Do the things you know you should do, and don't do anything that is contrary to spiritual consciousness. The opposite modes of material and spiritual consciousness. Spiritual and material consciousness are opposite in their modes of operation. You can test yourself as to whether you are filled with material or spiritual consciousness. Spiritual consciousness tells you that you must include in your happiness and prosperity the happiness and well-being of others. Material consciousness tells you that you should make $1 any way you can and keep it for yourself. This depression began out of material consciousness. Material consciousness says to eat your apple and cookies yourself. Spiritual consciousness says to divide and share with someone else. If somebody angers you, know you are in material consciousness. Even if you have been maltreated, still you should be ready to forgive. When you forgive, you are in spiritual consciousness. Forgiving means to give your enemy a chance to gain better understanding. If you become vengeful or angry, you only make your enemy more blind and angry. You may even make more enemies, for an angry person is the target of all. In addition, as soon as you get angry, you also begin to misunderstand. You back up your wrong feelings with the comforting warmth of your anger and false reasoning. Never let anger control you. If you have this tendency, cut it off. It is one of the worst traits that destroys spirituality. Know that it is for your own good that you should not get angry. Anger is destructive to your happiness. Never let your mental thermometer go up. Be calm inside. Control anger from within. Never give it a place in your heart. Material consciousness is quarrelsome. Spiritual consciousness gets along with everybody. Make the effort to be good yourself, and you will see that you influence others to be good automatically. That is spiritual consciousness. Be kind in speech and thought. From my childhood I have never knowingly been unkind. Don't be critical, either. When people complain about others, they usually have a grudge. Jesus said, "Judge not, that ye not be judged." If you want to judge someone, judge yourself. If you want to talk about others' faults, talk about your own. Have only love in your heart for others. The more you see the good in them, the more you will establish good in yourself. Hold the consciousness of good. The way to make people good is to see the good in them. Do not nag them. Remain calm, serene, always in command of yourself. You will then find out how easy it is to get along. I am an optimist where people are concerned, because I love them. When you love everyone, you see God in all. If you know that everybody is an expression of God, then to be angry or unkind with anyone is to be angry or unkind with God. When you are angry or mean or uncompassionate, you put a blind between your soul and the souls of others. Arrogance and insolence are also unspiritual traits. They are born out of an inferiority complex. Suppose I am the cook in this ashram, and when somebody gives me a little suggestion about my work, I say that I already know it all. That is insolence. The insolent person advertises the limitation of his knowledge, and also his lack of breeding. If you want to favorably impress others, why advertise your inferiority by a display of insolence and arrogance? It shows nothing more than a lack of manners and intelligence, and an uncontrolled temperament. Insolence and arrogance are forms of ignorance, unspiritual habits in their primitive state. Your highest good lies in spiritual consciousness. Understand in what lies your highest good. Wherever you are, whatever your responsibilities, your greatest happiness lies in living in harmony with the ideas you are taking from these teachings of self-realization. Good and evil are not the creations of man, but virtue and sin are. They result from your acceptance of either good or evil. In spiritual consciousness, your whole consciousness, no matter what your faults are, is turned toward good, toward God. Remember these simple guidelines. Control the senses. Turn those 5 searchlights inward in meditation. In that inner silence, you will know the beauty and bliss, beyond material imagination, that is God. The senses do not keep their promises of happiness. If you have everything in this world, you will find you still want something else, and your happiness will be a slave to your possessions. To be supremely happy and free, you must be a man of renunciation, one who is master of the senses and is non-attached to possessions. True renunciation means to renounce material consciousness for spiritual consciousness. It is not exclusive, but inclusive, for to have spiritual consciousness is to possess everything that will make you truly and lastingly happy. Control your habits and behavior. A life of spiritual harmony, whether lived in the context of the individual, the ashram, the family, the nation, or the world, requires willing cooperation with the rules of right behavior, and a loving understanding and cooperation with others. The standards and rules of spiritual harmony are higher than those of material harmony. Follow them strictly. Be your own judge, and court-martial yourself. If the verdict is that you have done wrong, correct yourself. Otherwise, your bad habits and wrong behavior will act against you like a boomerang. Better still, guide all your actions by the inner voice of spiritual consciousness, so that you will do no wrong. Live a balanced life. That is, live in harmony with the divine laws governing material and spiritual duty. Let not one responsibility contradict other important duties. Health. Millions need a greater consciousness of health, for diseases are not created by God but by man's breaking God's laws. Prosperity. Include others in your own well-being, and human relationships. Do not leave anybody out of your love. Keep everyone in your heart, and they will keep you in theirs. You will be a king on the throne of all hearts, commanding their love and influencing them to goodness, not by force, but by your love. End of chapter. The chapter Spectrum of Spiritual Consciousness is based on the talk given in the Self-Realization Fellowship International Headquarters, Los Angeles, California, August 1st and 3rd, 1934. This chapter is a part of the book Divine Romance. The Divine Romance is the second in a series of anthologies of Paramahansa Yogananda's collected talks and essays. Included in these anthologies are lectures, classes, and inspirational writings originally published by Self-Realization Fellowship.
This is a series of audiobooks and insightful lectures brought to you by Akanksshaa, dedicated to exploring timeless wisdom and spiritual teachings. Each recording is generated with love, honoring my journey and my connection with higher guidance, especially in tribute to my son Arnav, who now guides me from beyond. May these words awaken the divine love within you, bring you peace and inspiration on your own path, and may divine light within shine bright. May whatever merit arises from these readings be for the benefit of all sentient beings. Namaste.